feel very much at home at Edgewood College. In many ways, my life has crossed the path of Father Samuel Mazzuchelli and the Dominican Sisters. My family homesteaded on land in Big Patch, Wisconsin, just north of Sinsinawa Mound. As a teenager, I would ride my bike out to Wisconsin's first state capital and learn that Mazzuchelli had delivered the invocation for the first territorial congress there. When I attended the University of Iowa, I would walk past the old capital of Iowa, designed by Mazzuchelli. I've attended church in many of the parishes in southwestern Wisconsin that Mazzuchelli designed and helped build. I'm inspired by the teaching philosophy of Father Samuel. He was a priest and missionary, and he was also a teacher, artist, architect, urban planner, and a builder. He appreciated art, literature, music, theater, and architecture. He carved an altar and wooden tabernacle modeled after one by Bramante in Rome, which can be seen at Sinsinawa today. He was most likely interested in painting too. We have knowledge that some years later he taught oil painting to a sister at Benton. He encouraged the arts at every opportunity. Art has always been a central part of the curriculum, going back to the St. Clara Academy in Benton, Wisconsin. One of the important things for me is inspiring a love of learning in my students. I try and be enthusiastic and energetic, and if I can instill in them or nurture in them a love of learning, I think that's one of my greatest charges. So this is my 25th year here at Edgewood. So yeah, I've seen a lot of changes in the school. In the art department, when I started out, it was just Sister Stephanie Stauder and Sister Elizabeth Devine. They were full-time. And then Leo, Reginald, and Mary Leibarger and myself were part-time. And the department has really grown since then. When I started in 1988, we only had one phone, and we didn't even have a computer in the department. And then we got one computer that everybody used. So in 1999, Sister Stephanie decided to retire from full-time teaching, and Sister Elizabeth Devine decided to go to begin parish work. So I went to full-time and became the art department chairperson my first year, and we hired David Smith, and David was the 3D guy and I was the 2D guy, and I taught painting, drawing, art seminar, art structure, photography, two-dimensional design, and David taught three-dimensional design and ceramics and art structure and sculpture. And shortly after that, we hired Melanie Herzog to do art history, and we started two new majors, art therapy and graphic design. And Randy Feig started the graphic design program, and L'Oreal Neustadt started art therapy, and Janice Havelina now teaches art therapy. But those two majors really, our department really took off with those two majors. When David and I started, we had offered 8 classes, and now we offer around 45 classes a semester. And now we have 5 majors and 3 minors. And our students, when we started, we had 15 majors, students getting an art major maybe. Now we have over 150 plus students taking art courses. Now we're in this beautiful new visual and theater arts building center called The Stream, and we have a lot more space. We have ample storage. We have beautiful light streaming in. It's just a wonderful space to work in, and we've been working on it for a long time, my colleagues and myself, and now it's finally a reality. And sometimes we have to pinch ourselves to know it's real. The leaves are going to change, and it's going to open up, so we Sometimes I feel I won the lottery in teaching in the drawing and painting studios because we have wonderful views. I think it will open up with seeing Lake Wingra, and seeing the changes of the color is really wonderful. In 2004, I was selected as the faculty person to go to Fangeau, France, and I went along with my wife and Beth John. She was the staff person. And we went to where St. Dominic started the Dominican order in the south of France. And it's this little hamlet on top of a hill called Fangeau. And it has beautiful panoramas of all the crops, all the fields down below it. And one of my favorite experiences was going down the paths through the fields, through the poppies and the sunflowers and the wheat, and past vineyards in the steps that St. Dominic took. And you get out in this one field and there's a cross commemorating where some men tried to assassinate him and turn him into a martyr, but he survived that. But it's neat to see this cross out in the middle of the field. Another thing that I really enjoyed was we took an excursion to a cave up in the Pyrenees Mountains, and we walked half a mile back into this cave and through these passages and chambers, and you get back into this gallery, and you see the first paintings that prehistoric man has ever created. There's paintings and drawings of bison and deer, and it's wonderful. I'm a painter, so to see these images that are 10,000 years old of what was painted on the walls was really exciting. We went back to this cave. Caves aren't like here in the United States. We carried our own lanterns back into this cave, and it was a really powerful experience for me. I really enjoy being a plein air artist, working outside. I do work in the studio in my house, but I also love working outside because it's a much more holistic experience. You feel the wind. Today you don't feel the sun on your back, but a lot of days it's sun on your back. You do have to work fairly quickly because the weather is always changing, and so the light's changing, the weather's changing, the climate's changing. I do really like, generally I do landscapes, but I also have a real interest in historic vernacular architecture, and that's why I was the director of the Painted Forest for 6 years. This is the Lady of Lourdes Grotto that was built early on, and I'm sure it's modeled after the grotto in Lourdes, France. And grottos are come out of German heritage, and they're supposed to be cave-like. So I grew up in southwest Wisconsin, and I'm very familiar with the Dickeyville Grotto that inspired a lot of grotto architecture in Wisconsin.
Bob and I have been working together now for 17 years here at Edgewood College in the art department, and he was on the committee that hired me here. So I've known him the whole time I've been here, and throughout that time he has been a really steadfast colleague. He's great to work with, not only because he works so very hard, but he really embodies what this place is about. So coming in as a new faculty member those many years ago, I really learned from Bob what it meant to teach at this place and to become part of the Edgewood College community. The other thing about him that's really fabulous is he has so much integrity. He will speak the truth, he will act on that truth, he is completely reliable, he is steadfast and generous, and he gives so much of himself to this place that this award is really, really well deserved. And I congratulate him for it.
So I was looking to come back to school to get certified in art education, and I was looking at a lot of different colleges. And when I came to Edgewood, Bob was the first person that I met in the Edgewood Art Department. And he gave me a wonderful tour, and he told me all about the program and really made me feel like there was a community here. So he was really the tipping point for me making the decision to come to Edgewood and specifically become part of the Edgewood Art Department.